So, today we are going to start with the new chapter, Democracy and Diversity. Before uh, I put you along with me towards the democracy and diversity, I just, in a very limited word, I would like to just keep you on the on whatever we had studied in the last two chapters, because in the third chapter what we are going to study, that is a very important content. We are just going to study a very important contents that can only be understood if you have a proper understanding of power sharing and federalism. If you have understood it if you have understood the meaning and why these systems were installed in the democratic nature of government, okay, and for what purpose they are worked for, that is very necessary to understand. So I'm just going to putting a very little glance over all that topics. In ninth standard, what you had studied, you had studied that democracy is the better form of government. Okay, we had studied about these things. So, but we had also come to know that in a democratic nature, being a best form of government, democratic type of government had also faced a lot of problems. And when they are facing a lot of problems, and in the world, we also had experienced that so many democracies were collapsed, were failed. So what would be the reasons behind that? So for better understanding of all that questions, okay, we had moved forward and we had come to know about the power sharing. That power sharing is a method, okay, through that we could able to reduce the conflicts. That helps us in resolving our small issues. Okay, that is a one system. But for the appliance of this system, the democratic government must have a federal system. Mean, basically there are two systems that are played in the democratic form of government. One is unitary and another is federal. In the unitary system, the power sharing cannot be applied in its appropriate way. It cannot work. Okay. What in federal system? If you would have a federal system, then you can apply this power sharing method in a well appropriate manner. Okay. So this is what we had studied so far in the last two chapters. Now we are in the democracy and diversity. In the last two chapters, we also had studied that basically the obstacles were erupted in a nation because of the disparities. Every nation has experienced or has experiences or disparities. You can see a disparities in the form of language, in the form of religion, in the form of gender, in the form of reason, in the form of culture. And all these disparities are basically were the deep-rooted cause of big problem or obstacles. And it became very necessary for a nation to sort out these disparities in such a manner that it cannot be an obstacle in the path of development. Because if the nation would face this kind of problems because of the disparities, naturally the developmental processes of the country would be collapsed. Okay. We already had experienced it. So for that purposes, it is very necessary to accommodate these disparities. This is what we are studying. This is for the accommodation of all these things. The power sharing is there, the federal system is there. Now you have to understand that in what way in democracy and diversities we come to know about the social groups and social divisions. What are these social groups? How they were formed and how we have to manage them? How they can become a cause of big contentions? Okay. So that can only be understood through this chapter. So one thing is this. So far what we had studied, the method and the system. Now we need to understand that the diversities, how in what way these diversities were basically formed in a system. So first of all, today I'm just going to explain, not explain, but I'm only just telling you about an incident that took place in Mexico in the year 1968, and the event was Olympic Games. In that Olympic Games, the incident took place when the US athletes Tommy Smith and John Carlos, this one had bagged gold medal and John Carlos had bagged bronze medal. They both came to the podium to receive their medals. What the audience was struck, everyone was struck at by just looking at their appearances. They came over there with the black socks, they wear black socks, black gloves, and with their clenched fist raised higher, and they bowed their head and clenched their fists, and raised their hands like this. And one amongst them, the third one is Peter Norman, an Australian athlete. He also came over to the medal to receive his medal. He had bagged silver medal, and he was from Australia. He had received a silver medal, and he also came over there while wearing a badge of human rights, civil human rights. This incident had shaken the whole world. That being as they were representing one of the richest nation, a mightiest nation in the world. So why they were come with these gestures? What was their purposes? To what they want to communicate. So that was the thing. Like why they had did this? Why they had raised their clenched fists? Why they had bowed their heads? Why they came with the black gloves, wearing a black gloves? Why they had come with the naked feet? And why the Australian athlete had come while wearing a civil human rights badge? That was a time when they had just trying to gravitate the international. They had just trying to gravitate international agencies to look on to the problems what they are facing at their own hometown. At that time, the USA was facing a apartheid policy. The racial conflicts were seen in the USA. So, while clenching their fist, they were showing their black power. That being the black people, the black community is one. They were united. They were just showing their black power. And while while coming over their naked foot, they just trying to show their poverty. That they were living in a poverty. Although what they mean to communicate to the international world, to the whole world, that they had the potential. They had the potential to show their talents. But being having such kind of potentials, they were forced to live in a miserable condition in their country, and just because of the apartheid policy. So that was the incident. This is what I had explained to you. Now, in the next session, we will discuss about its whole, that in what way the social groups and the social divisions were playing over here, how they were running over there, in what way, but इसमें सबसे बड़ी बात ये थी, ये इंसिडेंट हुआ था 1968 में. पीटर नॉर्मन ऑस्ट्रेलिया का था, टॉमी स्मिथ, जॉन कार्लोस यूएसए के थे, ठीक है। और उसके बाद यूएसए के एथलीट्स जो थे इनके ऊपर इनसे इनके मेडल छीन लिए गया, ओलंपिक कमेटी ने इनसे मेडल छीन लिए, इनके ऊपर बैन लगा दिया गया, इनको कंप्लीटली इन्हें इनका करियर जो है वो स्पॉइल हो गया, ठीक है। इसके अलावा जो पीटर नॉर्मन था जो ऑस्ट्रेलिया में गया, जब ऑस्ट्रेलिया में गया तो उसके ऊपर भी कि उसने मतलब अपने देश को ह्यूमिलेट किया है करके एक बिना परमिशन लिए उसने मतलब किसी का साथ दिया है, किसी के कोज को सपोर्ट किया है, इसलिए उसके ऊपर ताउम्र बैन लगा दिया गया। और इस चीज़ का उनको कोई रिग्रेट नहीं था। और जब ये चीज़ें हो रही थी उस समय भी उन्हें मालूम था कि जो वो करने जा रहे हैं, व्हाट दे आर गोइंग टू डू, दैट वुड डेफिनेटली हैव अ वेरी हार्श, ठीक है, आउटकम्स वुड बी रिसीव्ड, ठीक है। दे वुड हैव टू फेस द लॉट ऑफ बैड circumstances, they had to face a lot of bad circumstances that could completely put their career in a dialectical conditions. वो जानते थे कि उनका करियर जो है वो काफ़ी बुरे दौर से गुजरेगा, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी उन्होंने ये चीज़ की। उसके बाद उनके करियर्स, उनके सब कुछ स्पॉइल हो गए। 1968 में ये चीज़ हुई थी और 2006 में जब पीटर नॉर्मन की डेथ हुई तो यूएसए से टॉमी स्मिथ और जॉन कार्लोस उसके कॉफिन में, उसके फ्यूनरल में पॉल वेयर बने, मतलब उसके कंधा दिया, कंधा देने के लिए ऑस्ट्रेलिया आए। अब इसमें सोचने वाली बात है कि देखो वो दोनों एज ए कॉम्पिटिटर्स प्ले कर रहे थे, ठीक है। और फिर उसके बाद ऐसा क्या बात थी कि वो जो है 2006 में उसके पास आते हैं, उसके कॉफिन में, उसके फ्यूनरल में पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं। तो ये सब चीज़ें हैं जिन्हें आप सोचिए ऐसा क्यों हुआ। वो वाइट था, पीटर नॉर्मन एक वाइट कम्युनिटी को बिलोंग करता था, वो ब्लैक कम्युनिटी को बिलोंग करते थे, सभी के लैंग्वेज, कल्चर सब कुछ अलग था। देन व्हाट वाज देयर, ठीक है, व्हाट, व्हाई, इन फॉर व्हाट पर्पसेस एंड इन व्हाट वे एंड व्हाई दे वर गेट इन टुगेदर एंड व्हाट वाज द फीलिंग दैट पुट देम टू बी बिकम देयर पॉल वेयरर, ठीक है। तो इन सब ये सब हम अगले सेशन में डिस्कस करेंगे। थैंक यू।